relationships are very important. It's the most important thing in life is relationships. And I think a lot of times leaders can be very cause-oriented, and they forget that they're dealing with people and not robots and not machines. And so it's very important that you have the right chemistry in an organization or a classroom or whatever you're doing. And if people are getting along, things are good. If people aren't getting along, everybody's miserable, and it's a really negative, bad situation. We're not talking about compromising values or not talking about compromising standards, but we are talking about being a person who's willing to give a little bit here, give a little bit there, and compromise possibly just maybe some little thing, just for the sake of having a positive relationship with other people. People are going to make or break you. If you're a leader, I'm telling you, the people that you surround yourself with are going to make or break you. If you can get along with them, if you can be a servant leader, if you can do things to empower them, to make them feel better about themselves and the work they're doing, you're going to be in great shape. And if you can't do that, you're going to have problems with leadership all your life. So just understand that people are the most important resource there is out there. And you need to get along with people. You need to treat other people like you would like to be treated. When in doubt, that's always a pretty good rule to follow. If you're coaching or if you're teaching, always remember that that son or daughter is, or that athlete is somebody's son or somebody's daughter. How would you like for a coach to treat your son or daughter? How would you like to be treated in this situation? Just put yourself in their shoes, walk a mile in their shoes and see what you would do if you were them. So relationships are probably the most important thing that we'll talk about in this presentation. Make them work, treat people like you'd like to be treated, love them, and you'll be fine. If you're going to be a great leader, you're going to have to be a responsible person, and if you're going to be a responsible person, you're going to have some courage, and you're going to have some strength, because the buck is going to stop with you. You know, you can't, you know, a lot of times people will blame other people for what went wrong, but when you're the leader, it stops with you and you don't have anywhere to go with that blame. And you know, that's one of the real challenges of being a leader. That's why some people choose not to be leaders, simply because you're not only responsible for what you do, but you're responsible for what everybody else is doing. And that takes some guts, it takes some character, it takes some maturity. And though all those characteristics can be developed and can be learned, but you know, you've got to be willing to carry that ball. I mean, if you're, you know, I loved watching our little softball team, you know, do so well this year, and then we went to the national tournament and everything, and there were several times when, you know, it was a critical situation, and you know, another team was at bat, and that hitter was going to hit that ball somewhere, and the game was on the line, and you're out there. I've been out there on that field before, and you're either thinking, hit it to me, or oh my gosh, don't hit it to me, and you've got to have that responsibility to where, hey, I want the ball, give it to me, put the game in my hands. It's what I can do, it's what I was born to do and what I'm best at. Let me have it. And that's what a leader has to do. You can't shun responsibility. You can't shun situations in which an organization needs your leadership, and you have to be able to step up to the plate and deliver. And I don't know, that's one of the reasons I like athletics, because I think they're just kind of a little microcosm of life itself. But you got to be a responsible person, and you've got to have the courage and just the sheer guts to do this, to be a leader. So you got to assume responsibility for whatever you're doing and live with it one way or the other.
Responsibility is one of the most key tools you will use for being a college student. One of the things that differentiates you from whenever you were in high school is you're more dependent on people and more people to your teachers to help you or to tell you to turn in your assignments. But whenever you go to college, it's a lot different. You become more self-dependent, and You have to be time manageable, you have to be on time, you have to actually show up and commit to what you're doing. Especially if you are in multiple organizations, that's also another load on top of going to regular classes. I'm in multiple organizations here on campus, and I can honestly say that time management and being able to balance everything is one of the hardest things possible, but I want people to look at me and always count on me to be there for what I'm supposed to be doing in my job, or whatever. If I'm an officer for a sorority or an SSL leader or anything like that, I want to be able to somebody always to turn to me and always count on me, because I was always there and responsible enough to show up on time, to get my duties done, and also be able to keep my grades up as well. And I think that's probably one of the most valuable lessons too, and qualities to have, because responsibility covers a whole spectrum of things that you can, or that qualities a person can have and a student can have. And you know, it comes along with trustworthiness and commitment and integrity. All of that, I think, develops under responsibility. So I think with responsibility, there's a lot of qualities to cover, but I think it's one of the most crucial ones.
Security is a big deal as far as leadership is concerned. People like to feel secure in their job. And one of the ways that you can make them feel secure is basically being the same every day, being the same person every day. I've worked for people that were like this, and boy, what a joy to work for them. And I've worked for people that were kind of moody, and you go in one day and do something and it's fine. You go in the next day and do the exact same thing, and they're all over you. And it's like, what's up with that? You know, it had nothing to do with your personality. It had to do with whether they ate breakfast or something. And what I'm trying to say is you gotta be enough of a stable person. I mean, what do you think of when you think of stability? I mean, I'm thinking of like a big concrete pillar or something like that. You're not gonna move that thing. Think of, you know, a big rock or a big boulder. Those things are not easily moved. And basically a stable person is a guy that's just, or a person, but like I say, they're just a rock. They're the same every day. Don't keep your people off balance. I think that's where I'm going with this. Don't keep your people off balance by your mood swings. How's that for cutting to the chase? Be a stable person, okay? A maturity, responsibility, excuse me, emotional toughness. Just go in there and say, hey, look, my people need for me to be a person that's a rock. I'm immovable, and I'm not going to be easily shaken. So that's a huge, huge thing, is stability. I want to talk about self-discipline. This is something I'm really trying to do and develop in my life. I wish I was more self-disciplined, and I'm working on it. But you know what? Any honest person on the face of the earth needs more self-discipline. I guarantee you this is something we all struggle with. It's discipline, self-control, being in control of circumstances, our own body, our emotions, all that stuff. You know, the first person that you're going to lead is you. I heard John Maxwell talk about that. That just blew me out of the water when I saw that in print. It really is the truth. I mean, you know, are you the real deal, or are you a hypocrite? I mean, do you practice what you preach? Are you going to back up what you say? What's the old saying? People, you know, what you do speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you say. The world will not follow a hypocrite, in case you hadn't noticed that. It just won't do it. People are in search of the real thing, the real deal. And one of the reasons they're in search of the real deal is because there's not many real deals out there. Not being critical, but telling the truth. So just be a self-disciplined person. And like I say, really any of these things that I'm talking about, I'm never looking down my nose at anybody, because I'm working on all of them myself. I'm a human being just like everybody else. And especially in this area, I'm really working on more self-discipline, self-control. And let me tell you where I'm really working on it. It's my thought life. You know, that's what makes or break you. What's going through that little mind of yours? What's going through that brain? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it good or is it bad? Are you focused or are you daydreaming? You know, those types of things. You being you know, you can change your life by changing your mind and renewing your mind. So there's all kinds of ways to get more self-discipline, and you know, all this is about. It all comes down to one thing: you becoming a better person, so you can make your people become better, and then everybody's happier. People aren't happy when they're not getting better. I can promise you. And so be self-disciplined. Work on self-discipline. I'm trying to lose weight. You know, I've been on a diet for 3 weeks, and so far I've gained 4 pounds. But we're still not going to give up. You know, and you know, we're all trying to get there as far as self-discipline. And if you're a self-disciplined person, I promise you that will rub off on your employees and on the people that are following you.
When I was 17, I joined the military. That was my option to make myself better, to give myself the discipline that I needed to lead a life that I wanted. Just the self-discipline in itself is what leads you to make the right choices in life.
You know, we all have pet peeves, and one of my pet peeves is being around a person that you can't tell them anything. You know, they got it all figured out, and you know, you can't speak into their lives. And sure enough, you watch them go down the tube, or you watch negative things happen to them, and it quite frankly could have been avoided if they would have listened to you or somebody. So you have to have a teachable spirit. You have to have a teachable heart. You got to understand you don't know everything. The minute you think you know everything, you're the most deceived person on the face of the earth. You know, I'm 62 years old. I'm still learning like crazy. It's amazing how, you know, I've been here, this is my 2nd year at Southeastern. It's amazing what I've learned this summer. You know, and I find myself really stimulated by the fact that I'm still growing and learning, and there's still something out there to live for. But if you're going to be a great person and a great leader, you have to be teachable. You have to be willing to pick up new ideas and new skills. And let me tell you something, this is a capitalistic society. I'm telling you, competition is huge in this country. And you have to stay on the cutting edge of technology and you know, in teaching, we have to learn, you know, even as far as camp counseling or first aid and safety or whatever you're learning. You know, I've learned a lot from my students. I mean, we're down here in southeastern Oklahoma. There's a lot of people who know about camping situations or summer camp situations, and I've learned from them. But it's because I really think that I do have a teachable heart to where I'm willing to listen and pick up some things. And I heard somebody say one time that no man has a lock on all truth. And I believe that's true. You can always learn from somebody and almost anybody. So be teachable. You really don't know everything that you think that you know. You really don't have it all figured out. Neither is that guy on TV who says he does, or that expert analyst who thinks they got all the answers. They don't have all the answers, man. They got to have a teachable spirit just like you do. So just be teachable and be a lifelong learner. And let me just say this, and I'll try to get off this soapbox here a little bit. Most people get to be about age 40 and they quit learning. They say, hey, this is me, this is who I am, and they just kind of stagnate through the rest of life. But the real people that are really making things happen, they never quit learning. They never quit growing, and they never quit making positive changes in their life. So have that teachable spirit. It will make the difference as far as being an effective leader. Touch on servanthood a little bit, and I feel like I've already talked about it, but I'm going to zero in on it right now and just say this. The people that I respect more than anybody on the face of the earth are people that are servants and people that are in it for other people and who really love other people enough to say, hey, I want to help you, I want to serve you, and this thing's not just about me and my deal and my agenda and my little empire. It's about this whole planet and how can we make this thing work? How can we make our culture work, our society work? How can we keep each other how can we keep from blowing each other to smithereens as nations? How can we keep a democracy going? All that stuff. It's all about being a servant. I do believe that servants are the ultimate winners. And let me just say this: you're not going to hear a lot about servanthood on the street. I worry about our culture in some areas, and I think it's become more and more of a me culture as opposed to an us or even a you culture. Let me tell you something, that is not the direction we need to go. I'm telling you straight up. So let's be servants. Nobody's asking you to be anybody's slave, or nobody's asking you to be bullied. I'm not going to be bullied. But I am going to have a servant's heart, as much as I know how to have a certain servant's heart. When I don't have a servant's heart, I'm going to change and say that was wrong. But being a leader is about being a servant, and about, this is my product, this is my organization, and I exist for the good of mankind. How's that for an unusual concept? You're actually alive so that you can make things better for people. What a deal. So let's be servants, okay? We need servants. This culture needs servants. And this can, I love our country, but it can be improved. And let's improve it by being servants.
In 2011, there was a tornado that came through and devastated a lot of Tushka, Oklahoma. And my children and I were involved in that tornado, in it. We lost everything. And we kind of fell through the cracks of insurance and FEMA, that kind of thing. So we were pretty much on our own. And we decided that being surrounded by all that and being so concerned about not having anything, we decided that we would spend 2 days working on the debris and everything around our property and our area. And we would spend the other 3 days working with just random church groups that went out to help other people. And it was an amazing experience to help other people that were going through what we've been through. But throughout that experience, what we found out is that people were taking notice to the fact that we were helping from within the same situation. And we ended up having a company that voluntarily came out to our property and ran electric lines. They paid for everything. They paid for the lines and for the equipment to do it. It was just the most amazing blessing that came out of serving someone else.
I think one of the real tragedies is that I see in life is that most people don't know who they are and where they're going. They don't have a reason for living. They're just kind of existing. And I like people with vision, people who believe in something, they have a goal, they have something they want to do with their life, and they're going to do everything they can to get it done. They're not going to run over people. They're not going to do anything to harm people. But whatever they can do, having a servant's attitude in the process, they're going to do. Like you may be an inventor, or you may be somebody who wants to find a cure for cancer or something like that. You may have a vision for this or a vision for that. But people who have a vision, they're the people that love life, because there's a reason to get up in the morning. They're excited about life. If you're just going through the motions and if you're just drawing a paycheck, what's exciting about that? Man, you need to be signing the paycheck. That's the deal. And you're so excited about that corporation or whatever you're leading that, and you have such a vision. This is what we're going to do with our lives and our corporation and our ministry or our team or whatever, that people catch that vision. But I believe that you were created with a purpose. That's what I believe. And I believe that there's a purpose out there for you. And what you got to do is you got to find what that purpose is and do it. And I think I have a vision for my life. I don't share it with people because it's sacred to me. But there's a reason I get up out of bed in the morning. And sometimes I don't get out of bed with a smile on my face. But at least I do get out of bed, and there's going to end up being a smile on my face somewhere, somehow down the line. So I want you to dream big, and I want you to think big, and I want you to understand that you're not put on this purpose to be an average person. You're put on this earth to be the best that you can be, whatever that looks like. And you've got a purpose and a reason to be alive. And let's find out what that purpose is and do it. And to me, that's the essence of all life and humanity. So that one's big. And like I say, I think most people, I don't know what I feel sorry for them or sometimes even get disgusted with them, because there's so much more to life than just getting up, going to work, coming home, trying to recover from work, going to bed and doing the same thing over for 50 years. I mean, hello. There's got to be something better than that. And I'm not, if that's you, I'm telling you, there's a better life out there for you. So let's have some vision so that you can be what you're supposed to be, so that this society can be what it's supposed to be, so that we can all just really do what we're supposed to do with our lives.
Let me tell you a quick story about vision. Myself and my roommate started an organization this past school year. We had a vision set, but it wasn't a clear, distinctive vision. Because of that, we ended up kind of stumbling through this past semester. We weren't able to accomplish everything that we wanted to accomplish. We were able to partake in an event that pertained to what we did want to accomplish. It was a community-wide, actually a county-wide event. And through that, listening to speakers, seeing how it was ran, we were able to say, okay, this is actually what our vision is, and clarify it and make it more distinctive. Because of that, coming into this fall and with more preparation over the summer, we're going to be able to sit down with the people in our organization and say, we know we didn't do everything right last semester, but we now have a clear, distinctive vision. We're going to be able to accomplish what we actually did want to accomplish last semester, and we'll be much more successful because of it. So the moral of the story is, once you have your vision, clarify it, make it distinctive, and then communicate it effectively to everybody else.
We've been talking about the 21 indispensable qualities of a leader, and I think this is such a great study. I think that all the basic disciplines of education are so important. English is so important, science is so important, mathematics is so important. But what we talked about today is big time important. And if you really want to know the truth, if you don't have this, all those other things don't really matter. So you're a leader. I think that's where people really miss the boat, is they don't realize that they're a leader. They think that being a leader is being the head of a big corporation or a big organization or a church or a business or a team. Man, you're a leader if you're on this earth, because you're influencing somebody. Even if it's just one person, you're influencing that somebody. And who knows, that person may grow up to be President of the United States. You don't know that they won't. So this is important, and I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you take it to heart. My goal is for this is for you to understand this, not so that you can get a good grade, but so that this can be a valuable part of the educational experience, and you can take this with you, and 20 years from now, you can be making some great decisions by what's on this tape and what you learn on this tape, and that's the goal. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you very much for your kind attention.